Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. Last time you had a conversation with Skolna after learning some more things about yourself. We are going to pick up a few days later on Sunday morning. It is early when you wake up. Not as early as when you're waking up for class, as it is the weekend. But as you awaken, today is important to you, as there is something that you have to do today.
Yeah.
So, you wake up at 7 in the morning. How do you handle this?
Doesn't recalling back now that her memory is much better than mine. She wasn't told a specific time to get the dead drop.
No, she wasn't.
But is it safe to say that that might likely happen at night? Maybe I should ask someone who knows stuff about this better than me.
You don't know.
I'm gonna go to breakfast. In the
Okay.
hopes of finding Skolna again.
Alright, roll me a D100.
16?
Roll me a perception.
Oh boy. Well, Lorna. No. I don't even think she could roll low enough for me to see her.
A 14. You head to breakfast. You do not see Skolna.
Who is there?
Whether she's there or not, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, breakfast on the weekends does not usually offer temporary hit points, as it's just basic breakfast, just enough to fill you up.
Uh-huh. Who is at breakfast?
Well, let's find out. Okay. Roll me a d10.
Okay.
Okay. You see the hulking form of Tame on the far side of the room. She's eating breakfast and reading something.
Oh, I love that she reads.
Go ahead and roll me another d10.
I still have that book she let me borrow. I should read that.
You see Tierra.
Yes! I'm gonna wave hi to Tame if she even glances up to notice me, but I'm gonna go to
I'll
Tierra.
roll a perception for her.
With my new hand, because she probably hasn't seen it and she was there when I lost it.
She's too engrossed in her book. Does not notice.
I'll say hi to her later. But I do go to Tierra.
As you've gathered your breakfast and you head to the table Tierra is sitting at, he is taking it easy. You see he has a large mug of what smells like clava. He's leaning back and looks up as you're approaching, and he says, "Well, good morning, beautiful."
Good morning. It looks like you're having a good day so far.
Oh, it's off to a pleasant start. I'm not going to complain.
Are you ready for me to ruin it?
How did I have a feeling you would say something like that?
She slides into the seat across from him and leans forward, and she says, I think I might need your help.
That's not new.
I might need your help with a specific thing instead of just the emotional support you give to me on a daily basis.
All right. How can I help? And he kind of leans forward and sets the mug down.
First things first, have you seen Skolna? And nobody's seen Skolna ever, but would you have an idea?
He picks the mug back up again, takes a sip.
As you take a sip of your own.
Oi, Skolna! And then...
Did he see her?
No.
Oh, he just assumes that she'll materialize.
There is the sound of a chair scraping, and Skolna sits at the table next to you.
She is so cool. Great. You're the exact two people I wanted to talk to.
Skolna is clearly chewing. She shrugs and looks at you.
I and she'll switch to Infernal because she knows Skolna's a tiefling and Tier speaks Infernal, so she'll say in Infernal, I need your help with something.
Both Skolna and Tier look at each other, and Tier says, "Why the devil speak? Is that necessary?"
I think so. Potentially.
All right. And he says that back in Infernal.
You are both familiar with my relationship with a certain terrifying devil woman, right?
Skolna nods, and Tier glances over and says, "She knows?"
When I weirdly asked her to take drinks with me last night.
That was a few nights ago, wasn't it?
Oh shit, it was a few nights ago. Yes, we had a nice,
Gave her the rundown, did you?
Yes. So she's privy to what's going on, because I don't want anybody who's working with me to not know what they need to deal with in the future. Like, and she kind of gestures broadly, this thing I have to deal with.
Tier, leans on the table and looks over at Skolna, and he says, "So that means you're truly part of the club now, doesn't it?" And Skolna looks at him with a raised eyebrow and shrugs.
Yeah. So that woman has specifically asked me to do something. Tonight. Or today. I'm actually not sure when, but I know what it is. And I thought maybe I can consult, particularly you, Skolna, about what to expect with this kind of thing.
She raises an eyebrow.
It's dead drop.
She kind of lifts her head up and sits back, crosses her arms.
I know where it's going to be, and I know what it's going to be inside of, but she didn't give me a time frame, so I thought maybe night? Does that sound reasonable? Or should I just hang out at the docks all day?
Skolna furrows her brow. What were the words she said to you?
She takes out her notebook because she wrote it down when she remembered it, just like I did right here.
I'm very proud of you.
She said, 2 weeks hence from now, which was 2 weeks ago to the day, dead drop, beneath southern docks, the 4th pier, log floating in the water, look inside it, gather what's within, and follow the instructions.
She, looks at you with a raised eyebrow, and she says, "You have a time frame."
Do I?
Today.
Yeah, today.
So
just
it's
any time
there.
today? Right now?
Probably.
Oh shit. Should I go get it?
When you say, "Oh shit," Tiara just starts laughing.
Should I go get it?
If you're doing it.
Well, otherwise I'll lose something else. She raises her hand and sweeps the air.
Then probably.
Is this something that I have to be stealthy about?
Skolna shrugs.
I can't just walk. I mean, should I just... I don't know what I'm doing, Skolna.
Tier says, "Okay, if it's a dead drop in a log in the water, you're not going to do it quietly, because you're going to have to go down into the water. So, other people go down into the water to climb and stuff like that, so I don't think anybody's going to care if they see someone walking around the coast.
Okay.
So just, if this is what we're doing, if this is what you need our help with...
Yes, please. I don't want to do this alone. I'm scared.
Let's go get ankle deep in some ocean."
You're okay with me turning your Sunday into nonsense?
I didn't have anything planned. And Skolna just is frowning.
Insight check?
Good luck.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, roll insight.
Oh, I was almost a natural 20. 13.
No idea.
Oh, shit.
You can't tell if she's actually annoyed or if she's giving you a hard time.
Well. And she'll look at both of them. Consider this an IOU.
Oh, we do.
You speak for Skolna now.
He glances over and Skolna looks at him and then just nods.
Okay. Great. I'm glad you two are getting along.
Skolna winks at you.
Fuck. Okay, let's just go before somebody takes my log.
And with that, you head out of the mess hall of the Merryguard Academy. Let's pull up the city map, shall we? As the three of you make your way down and out.
The two sneakiest people in my party.
It's true. As you head down through Ferrum, I need you to roll me a d8. Because you're heading all the way down to the South Docks, and there is a chance of random encounter.
There's not 4 piers on this map. My immersion. Don't look at me like that.
Okay, the note says 3rd pier.
Aww. I rolled a 4, by the way.
Yeah, roll me a d100.
Okay. Forgot about that tentacle house I saw the other day. 56. I wonder what that turned out to be.
Who knows? Okay. Well, as you're walking down through the streets of Ferrum, you head past the East Park, and you see there is a halfling woman who is seated on the edge of the East Park, and she is crying.
Oh boy.
Really loud, abrasive crying. Like, bawling. And people are just kind of trying to give her a wide berth.
Yeesh. Can I roll an insight check to see if she's fake crying or if she's actually crying?
Well, firstly, she's dressed like an adventurer.
Okay.
So, this is not just some townsfolk who's crying. You can go ahead and roll me insight.
I haven't seen her at the Marigard, have I? Oh, I rolled really
No.
well. I wish I'd rolled that for Skolna. 23.
She's truly crying.
Man. I think Lorna would look at her 2 charges and sigh, look at the woman, and kind of awkwardly approach.
As soon as you start moving toward her, Tyr says, "Wait, really?
I know,
Yeah. Do you want to deal with this?"
It hurts my heart. to see her
Oh,
crying.
God. All right.
I'm trying to be a good person. I'm really, really trying to be a good person. And she'll look at the woman and say, excuse me, are you alright?
She glances up at you. She's seated on the ground in front of this bench. Her knees are pressed up to her chest, and her arms are like wrapped around her knees, and her head was down in them. So when you say that, she looks up, and you see her face is red, and her eyes are swollen, and she's been legitimately crying. And to you, she says, "My party didn't want me to go with them!" And she just continues crying.
Your adventuring party?
She nods.
Did they say why?
They said I'm a liability.
Oh. She's gonna kind of kneel down so she's more the height of this halfling woman and say, what do you usually do in a group?
She looks up at you and she sniffles. I'm a second-story artist.
I see, so, like, she kind of glances at Skolna, but then
No,
looks
you don't.
quickly
She's
away.
not
Oh, fuck.
there.
Fair enough, okay.
Skolna did not
She
want to
glances
deal
where
with
she
this.
thinks Skolna what would have been and being like, oh, fuck. And
Tyr
looks back
shrugs.
at this woman. Man, do you have any formal training?
She sniffles, and she just, like, looks at you. What you mean?
Like, have you considered maybe enhancing your skills to be a more valuable asset?
She looks at you very dumbly.
Oh, like, if your party didn't... If they thought that you were a liability, maybe you could practice some more. Then your next party will really cherish you.
You think they're gone forever?
No,
she just starts to
I'm
cry more and more.
No, you could find a better party because they obviously aren't worth your time.
Roll me a persuasion.
Oh my god. 10.
She's just bawling. You've made it way worse.
Hold on. Sorry, what's your name?
In between the heaving sobs, she says, Cassandra. You're muted.
Cassandra, right?
Cassandra, yes.
Okay, so why would you want to be with people who don't want to be with you?
They
They sound like they suck.
They were my friends.
Clearly they weren't. Oh. Lorna like puts her hand over her mouth. What I'm trying to say is that there are
I
so
need
much
you to
better...
roll me another persuasion at disadvantage.
Oh my god. 2 19s. 2 19s.
Okay.
26. You're better than that. You want people around who like you.
She sniffles hard, coughs, and like tries to like rub her face as she's trying to get herself back together. And she says, "Who are you?"
My name is Lorna. I'm a wizard student at the Marigard.
She blinks and like rubs her eyes, and she says, "You think I could sign up for the Marigard?"
That's exactly what I was thinking. If you want to get better and impress people, and I know you will, try signing up at the Marigard. I know a rogue student who is so incredible. You wouldn't even know she was in the same room as you unless she wanted you to. And I think that's so cool.
Cassandra seems to sniffle, and with 26, she seems to be heartened by her words. And you watch she pulls out like a handkerchief and douses it with her canteen and begins just like wiping off her face. And when she's finally finished, she's kind of gotten herself composed. Her eyes are still swollen and red, but she's no longer a snotty mess. Okay. I'll go see what they're about then.
There is a fee to sign up.
Oh no. How much?
Well, how much do you have on?
And she like reaches down to her belt, and then she like there's like a long hesitation. Oh, I gave my money to the party for horses. And she begins to start crying again.
Oh god. So you don't have any money on you, do you?
She shakes her head. Roll me an intelligence check.
Oh boy. 21.
You get the impression this individual has been taken advantage of.
Oh my god.
She does not seem super bright.
Lorna kind of slumps, like her shoulders just kind of drop. She sighs. She looks at the pouch on her waist and she digs around in it, pulls out 100 gold pieces.
Aw, you're gonna pay for this, kid? Okay.
Yeah. So she says, Cassandra, I think you could be something great. I believe it so much that I'm gonna pay for your tuition.
She looks up at you, her little halfling brown eyes wide and surprised, and she says, "It's 100 gold."
Yeah. I really believe in you.
You see that her eyes begin to crinkle in a smile, and she just says, "Thank you. You're so nice."
Well, one of my best friends is a halfling, and she's also incredible, so I really don't have any doubts about you.
And she goes to the Marigard?
She does. She's a wizard like me.
Well, then I can't wait to meet her. And she's smiling wide when she stands up.
Mm-hmm. If you go straight up that road the way that they came from, she puts the 100 gold in her hands and she says, go straight up that road, and the first person you see inside the Marigard, his name is Persh.
I'll head right there, thank you. And she scurries along the road up to the Marigard Academy.
And Lorna just kind of, she had been hunched on her like heels, crouched down. She just kind of sits on her butt in the dirt and she says, fuck.
You know, you're not going to make any gold if you keep giving it to people.
I know. But she was so sad.
That was... I mean, you could have... Alright. And he will, like, reach down and, like, put a hand under your arm to help you stand up.
Mm.
That was very nice of you.
Thanks.
I don't think I would have done the same.
Well, actually, I didn't tell her this, but the woman who saved me from where I was and got me to even be able to go to the Marigard, she was a halfling too. And if she had decided that my problems weren't her problems, well, I would have been fucked.
You turn, like while you're talking to Tier, you turn and look at the direction you're going to go. Skolna is standing there next to you, and she has a wide smile on her face.
Did you hear me gas you up?
She nods.
I was not talking shit. I truly believe that you're the coolest person I know.
She shrugs and kind of tilts her head, but she's still smiling.
We should go to the docks, right? And hopefully no more crying halflings, no more crying anything, because I only have like 130 gold in my pocket right now, so I can only do that one more time today.
Skolna smiles a little wider and nods.
You have to put Cassandra into the Marigard now. New rogue student.
Uh-huh.
Worst case scenario, the room of selections doesn't select her.
Yeah.
No! That
could happen.
So sad. Please, God.
If her stats are not high enough, I'll roll them to see if she is.
No! Well, her intelligence is obviously like a 7.
Yeah, she's dumb. But she could still be a rogue.
She could still be a rogue.
Okay, that was your random encounter, Cassandra.
Thanks, Echo.
You're welcome. I didn't expect
really
it to cost you 100 gold.
I believe in her.
Okay. As you head down the road toward the South Docks, it doesn't take long before you finally arrive. As there's no more random encounters, the South Docks are not so busy on a Sunday. Today is everyone's day off, mostly. There are some vendors that are out trying to make the quick sale. There are snacks and sorts of things available, but nothing... There's no fish. There's no produce. Everything that would be fresh and ready is not out for sale right now, so the market is much quieter than it normally is. As you approach the South Docks, instead of actually going along the piers, Tier points to, and you head toward, the down ramp that leads to the actual stony beach coast beneath the docks.
But it smells awful.
It smells like low tide, which doesn't smell great. The way the docks are built, on these large concrete posts that have wooden, basically massive rafters that lead all the way up to the piers, you find you have a good maybe 15 feet of height above you, where you can see people walking on the boardwalk through the thin cracks of planks. And the sounds almost makes it feel secretive and safe down here.
That's cool. Skull, have you ever been down here?
She nods.
It makes me feel like I'm safe, even though it smells horrible.
She nods again.
Yeah.
I need you to roll me an investigation check.
Okay. Another natural 19. 26.
Doesn't take long. As you're looking out beneath the docks, there are lots of driftwood, broken planks, and old refuse that's not of use to anybody. There is one log that is maybe about a foot of it is beached up on the sand, and the rest of it is just drifting out in the water. But as you're looking at it, you see there is a knothole in it.
I guess that's our ticket. She will approach it. You think it's gonna be trapped?
Skolna shrugs, and Tier says, "It could be. It might be worth looking."
I'm not really sure how to do that.
Skolna sighs and goes over to the log.
That's why I asked you to come with me.
She looks at you, and then back to the log. As... Hold on a second. As she looks at the log and begins to basically use what looks like... Not a lockpick, it almost looks like a compass. She begins to run it around the knot hole and inside it. I'm going to roll investigation for Skolna.
Have I ever seen anything like that?
What she's using?
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a history.
Dirty 20.
Yes. You've seen Fion use one.
Aw. Today's the day of Fion.
Apparently. It doesn't take long. Eventually she stands up and she says, "It's clear."
Great, thank you. She will kneel down and assess how to open this container?
So you reach down and the knot hole in the log, it's a small hole. It's about the size of your hand. When you need to commit to reaching into it to see what's in there.
Oh. Well, she'll use her fake hand.
Okay. You feel the mechanical fingers grasp something.
Pull it out.
There is a small vellum scroll tied to what looks like a pouch.
Alright, I'll start with the scroll.
As you open the scroll, it appears to be blank.
Well, I don't believe that's true. Let me see. Can I cast Detect Magic on it?
Yes.
I do that. I'll use a spell slot for it. So I have to sit under here for 10 minutes.
The scroll has illusion magic on it. And as you see that, I'd like you to roll me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh boy. It was almost a natural one, but it's a 14.
You know that you can see through this illusion if you try and focus hard enough.
Okay.
A 14 is not high enough, so you just need to focus. And at first, you feel bested by the illusion. But you sit down and you take another 10 minutes, roll the intelligence save again.
Okay. Oh my god, the same roll. 14. It smells really bad down here. It's distracting.
It's the same result. Tier looks at you and says, "Do you need? Should we find other locations, or?"
I think so. I already dragged you guys out. How about we ship stool and we can sit in a place that isn't rank?
Skolna nods.
Okay, let's go.
You head to
lay
the ship
everything
stool.
out on the table.
Okay. Look at that. Skolna's already with you.
Yeah.
Let me pull out here. There he is. Roll me a D100.
Okay. 91.
Roll me a D10.
Okay, one second. D10. 8.
Okay, one moment, please. Oh, my foundry just froze.
No.
Hello?
Hello.
Thank you. Do you see my cursor flying around?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay.
As you step in to the ship's stool, looking for a table where the three of you can kind of be a little isolated, music is being played. You see at the far end of the ship's stool there is a red-headed bard wearing a whole lot of swords, but wearing the Maryguard's paisley.
Me and Skolna saw her last night at the...
Now she's here.
Weird. I mean, weird. There's only like how many taverns?
There's
She's
two.
cute. Why didn't you tell me she was cute?
Sorry. As you are like looking for a seat, she glances up from her song, which is in a language you don't recognize. Hold on. I am having trouble with everything.
That's like me
There
in
we
my
go.
day-to-day life.
She's playing the lute, and she stops singing for a moment as you all enter, and she nods at you. You get the feeling she recognizes you from the other night.
I nod back with the thought in mind to leave her a tip, because why would I keep money when I could give it to everyone?
Apparently, yeah.
Being nice is really expensive.
Apparently so. Especially when you shell out 100 gold at a time for Merigard.
She is going to be the
tuitions.
best fucking rogue. I believe in her.
Better than Skola.
Okay, that's not possible.
Okay. Anyway, you find a table. You, Tier, and Skolna kind of sit by yourselves. And Tier says, "Alright, I'm going to order a drink. You all want anything?"
I'll just, whatever you have.
Alright. And good luck with that.
Thanks. She's gonna, well, she's, as she lays out the scroll, she kind of palms the little pouch that was with it, and she'll actually open it and see what's inside.
Okay.
Or is that a bad idea?
Well, you've done it. As you open the pouch,
Okay.
you see inside it is a ring.
Alright. She'll put it back in the pouch because she doesn't think she'll just leave a ring on the
I
table.
need to know, did you take the ring out of the pouch?
I would imagine she would have to look at it. Like, she probably opened it and put it into her palm. Granted, it was probably, since she's right-handed, her metal hand.
Alright.
Yeah?
And you put it back in the pouch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm being weird about this.
Shrug.
Okay, anyways, I turn to the scroll and try to read it.
Roll me an intelligence save.
19.
You pass. You see through the illusion. Suddenly, as if being written in front of you, black ink scrawls across the vellum parchment, and it says, "Bring this ring to the turntable secondhand shop. Do not tamper with it. Sell it to the owner for however much they will give you. Do not touch the ring with your bare hands. Use gloves if you have them. Explain to the owner this ring once belonged to your friend who died recently and she left it to you. You have no use for it and you could use the coin. If you tamper with this ring, touch it, or cast any spells upon it, I will know. I will know, and you will learn the cost of disregarding my orders. They are not worth your curiosity. When the ring is sold, forget it happened and go about your business as usual. If everything goes smoothly, you will know, as I will reward you. Hail."
Lorna just puts her head on the table.
No, guys. I think I might be in trouble.
Tier and Skolna both look over, and Tier says, "Why?"
Because I took the thing out of the thing and I put it in my metal hand. But when I read the scroll, she said don't touch it.
Tier and Skolna both look at each other, and Tier says, "Well,
Sorry, what exactly did the letter say? I will know and you will know the consequences of disregarding my orders.
I will.
You just send me
I
the
will
whole
paste
thing.
it to you. Yeah."
Thanks, that'd be great. Oh. So she'll actually... Can they see it after I've been able to see it?
No.
She'll just
You like
kind of
hold
lower
up
her
the scroll
voice-
to them,
yeah.
and it's blank to them.
She'll hold up the scroll to her when she realizes that I can't see it. She'll bring it back and she'll say very quietly, "If you tamper with this ring, touch it, or cast any spells upon it, I will know, and you will learn the cost of disregarding my orders. They are not worth your curiosity."
Tier
Am I in trouble?
Skolna nods. And Tier says, I don't know. It depends. Does that hand count as a bare hand?
I don't know. I just got it.
Okay. Here's the thing, alright? It says, do not touch the ring with your bare hands. You touched it with your metal hand, which isn't actually you, right? It's a piece of metal. So maybe it didn't do anything to it. Maybe there's an effect or something on the ring that it's important that somebody else get affected by.
I didn't feel anything happen. Can I, like, kind of check back at that exact moment I touched it? Does it feel like anything occurred?
No.
Like, I didn't sense anything. There was no heat or light or a dizzying feeling.
No.
Okay. I don't know. How badly do you think this will go if it does count as a hand and she knows that I touched it?
Well, I mean, he looks at your hand.
I know. This was strike 2. I wanted to strike 3.
Skolna just draws a thumb across her neck.
No. Fuck.
Okay, let's just do this after we get our drinks, because I need like 4 right now. Then we're gonna do exactly what this thing says, and then we're just gonna move on, and I'm just gonna hope to fucking all of the gods, that I'm not gonna die.
I believe if the hand didn't count, if that metal hand doesn't count for whatever is going on here, then you're in the clear.
Okay.
But if it does count, we'll deal with it.
She has the ability to send messages, whenever she wants, I'm assuming. And she's done it to me before, but she hasn't sent one saying, hey, I know you touched my thing. But I don't know if she'd warned me ahead of time she was gonna do something terrible to me.
And as you are all talking about this, and you've put that away.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment, and then the half-orc bartender sets 3 mugs of ale down on the table.
Thanks.
Welcome. And then he goes away. Tier says, look, even if you did fuck up, there's nothing you can do about it now.
Right.
So, we just do what the smart thing is, right? You do what the thing says, and then you tell the Marigard you done it.
I tell the Marigard.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Well, it's not a free agency, obviously. Do you think they'll care?
Didn't you say something about at least saying you had to tell the Marigard?
Well, I at least said tell the Marigard if whatever she tells me to do goes against the interests of the Marigard.
You must be smarter than this, Lorna.
Apparently not, because I fucking touched it. Okay, sure, why not? Why wouldn't I just, even if it doesn't matter, why wouldn't I just say anything? Sure, I will talk to, Maxwell after this. Make sure, hey, I sold this ring. Hopefully it's not a big deal.
And Skolna nods and says, Maxwell would know what to do.
Oh, okay. See, this is why I brought you two, because I'm fucking stupid.
Look, when it comes to these dead drop sorts of things, I mean, I don't want to tell you reading the instructions is the first thing.
I 100% thought that was the right thing to do when we were under the dock, which is why I tried to read it twice, and then it wasn't working, so I was like, you know. I really did think it was smarter to read the instructions first, but there was some dumb part of me that thought that it would be okay.
Look, I know you're new to this, you know, the under the law sort of thing, but it's not, okay, there's no way she's going to kill you for taking it out of the bag, right?
She just points to her hand.
Well, yeah, that's drastic. That was for shaking a tail, right? But just taking it out of the bag because you couldn't see through whatever was going on, Right, I can't see anything there. If she actually would kill you for that, then she's not a good leader.
I guess. But her, you know. Do you know what she said to me before she took my hand?
No.
I don't give second chances.
Okay. But this isn't you deliberately disregarding orders, right? You didn't know that those were the orders when you took it out of the bag.
It's true. I'm obviously, like you said, it's done, and talking about it isn't going to make me fuck up any less.
I'm going to tell you what my old captain used to say anytime someone made a mistake. He would say, people fuck up. And any captain who doesn't count for that's a bad captain.
Well, she's just gonna reach across the table and take her mug and drink as much of it as she can in one gulp.
Okay. As you drink the ale, you notice the music has stopped.
Oh.
And as you set the ale down, you see the red-haired bard is like standing next to your table, and she says, I saw you three over at the Merry-Guard. I just wanted to say hello. I haven't seen you three around the Merry-Guard, but you look like students to me.
We are. Yeah, I saw you play last night. It was beautiful.
Thank you. I'm a bard student, if you couldn't have
Clearly.
guessed.
Were you singing in Giant?
She smiles a little and she says, yeah, I was.
I don't speak it, but I'm a wizard, so knowing other languages is going to be important eventually.
Yeah, I bet it is. I'm pleased to see students that aren't oblivious to the world around them. Anyway, I'm Nore. I just want to say hi and thanks for listening to me.
I hope I get to hear you again.
I'm, trying to make coins, so you'll probably find me at the taverns.
Speaking of, and she'll slide 5 silver across the table to her for both songs.
She glances down at it,
Yesterday.
picks it up, tucks it away, and she says, thanks. Most tippers just leave them in the hat, but it's good to make eye contact every once in a while.
Well, we got to meet you up front and personal.
So you did. And she just kind of, like, scratches at her chin and she looks at Tier and is going, I've seen you around. And Tier just shrugs and says, oh, I get around,
He
usually.
does.
What's that supposed to mean?
Lorna
You're just
just
ready
smiles.
to hop right on that bandwagon, aren't you? And Nore looks at Skolna, and Nore says, don't think I've seen you around before.
And you probably never will again.
She looks at you and she says, you have something to say about everyone, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
It has been.
I'll see you all around.
Yeah.
She reaches over, takes Tier's mug of ale, and takes a swig, sets it down, and walks away.
Ah, she's so cool. She'll like look at Tier and Skolda and she'll lower her voice and say, how does someone have a presence like that? I want something like that.
Tier raises an eyebrow and says, you probably learn it by being a bard.
Well, not everybody who's really cool is a bard. Like Skolna, for example.
Skolna just shrugs and just says, you're right.
I think it's just, there's something about some people where they just kind of command the attention of a room without even trying.
Well, I mean,
Well, the opposite.
as a bard, they are trying, right? Like, that's the
Yeah.
job.
Sure.
Do you actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. And while she's not a bad option, should we consider, for the fall festival, maybe a bard as part of our team?
How many people are we allowed to have in our group?
I don't know. I didn't know there was a limit.
I didn't know there wasn't not a limit.
Okay, well, I guess we can talk to Persh, right? He would know.
Really good idea.
It's his rules, after all.
Right. A bard seems like a fine idea. I haven't really interacted with many of them.
Well, they're very good at, well... My captain used to call them the grease, because they can make the wheels spin when you're trying to accomplish something difficult. You get the grease to talk to the gods and such.
Mm-hmm.
The face is another word for them. But I think that's technically your job, as you're the best among us at talking to people. You got those courtly graces that everyone just assumes you know what you're doing.
Sure, but it's half of the time people think I know what I'm doing, and the other half of the time they think I'm an asshole who thinks they're better than them.
Well, so long as they think both, then they won't give us a problem, will they?
Just gotta bank on it.
Which means you need to work on being that asshole thing, because you're way too nice.
I'm trying to be. I have a long and extensive history of not being very nice.
Okay, but see, you know, when we need people to do things, being nice is not always the best course. And you see Skolna's frowning. But Tyr continues and he says, sometimes you need to be rude or be a dick to get people to do the things you need them to do.
Okay, I guess I can channel some previous experiences if I'm going to try to accomplish that.
I'm not saying to make it a habit. I'm just saying be capable of it, you know?
I agree that it is something I could learn or lean into. You're not wrong.
Anyway, this suddenly got into a lecture and I didn't mean it to. I was just saying we could use a bot.
That's okay. I agree with you. Maybe we can ask Nora. She doesn't have a group.
We did just meet her.
We did.
But she is really hot, so I'm on board.
Squints.
Am I wrong?
I'm not disagreeing with you. And I don't... Maybe it's me, the player, but she feels like she can't let this go, and she'll reach across the table, take Tyr's drink, and also drink out of it, and then push it back
He
toward
will
him.
laugh. He will just openly laugh when you do that.
Overwrite that.
Okay, alright. You've made your point. Okay. Can I get another?
Me too. Because mine's gone.
Empty. Okay, are you getting drunk right now? Out of curiosity.
I think she's just trying to feel a little better. I don't think she's getting smashed. I think she's just trying to take the edge off.
Okay, then you probably have a few ales, but not too many. Go ahead and roll me a con save.
Okay. Decent. 15.
A 15. You are tipsy. The edge is gone. You feel that boost of confidence that comes with alcohol, though also comes with a lack of motor coordination. You feel maybe
I never had that to begin with.
You feel just a little bit clumsy, but it's not noticeable to anybody else. And as you... And Skolna does not have any more. She had one, and then she has been snacking on what look like celery sticks covered in peanut butter. As
Yum.
You and Tyr enjoy yourselves. Finally, after maybe a good 20 minutes of just spending time in the ship stool, you all make your way out, as you have things to do.
Mm-hmm. Can you pause real quick?
Yes. And we resume. Okay. As you leave the ship stool, I search for... Okay. Thank you. As we get music going, sorry about that. You leave the ship stool and you're out above the south docks. You have a little velvet pouch with a ring in it, and you have orders of what to do with it. What do you do?
Do you either of you know where the Turntable second-hand shop is? Have you ever heard of it?
You do. It's where you bought...
I do? Oh shit, is that where I got my bag of holding?
Yes.
Shit, never mind, I retract that. Do you think I should look like someone else when I do this? I don't really know why. Obviously it's a big deal. But It'd be nice if it wasn't traced back to me.
Yeah, it might be a good idea if you have an easy means of disguise.
Yeah, I sure do. I've actually never used this before.
Okay.
She's gonna look around for like just like a place to break line of sight for many people who aren't their group.
There are lots of alleys.
Mhm.
There's many places that you could dip into real quick.
She's gonna do that, and she is going to cast Disguise Self.
Okay,
And
what is she
she's
look
gonna
like?
look like. I kind of want to look like a tiefling. She's gonna look like pretty much Lorna still, but like a tiefling with very exaggerated fiendish features, like the fully singular tone eye, um, prominent horns, a tail.
Okay. As you disguise yourself as a Lorna tiefling, you step back out of the alley and Skolna looks at you. She just raises an eyebrow.
It's so different from what I normally look like. I just thought it'd be kind of cool.
She shrugs.
I'm like orange.
Okay. Yeah, Skolna's like purple.
Yeah, I don't look anything like Skolda, so it's not like they'll be like, tiefling.
Okay. Yes, you have disguised yourself. What is your spell DC to see through an illusion?
15.
15. Okay.
And she's going to go to the shop. And she's going to carefully read the note over again. Branch to the shop, don't tamper with it, sell it to the owner for however much they give you. Do not touch the ring with your bare hands. She kind of just sighs as she reads that over. Use gloves if you have them. Explain to the owner this ring once belonged to your friend who died recently and she left it to you. You have no use for it and you could use the coin. Okay. She goes.
The Turntable Secondhand Shop is up by the East Park. It is this strangely shaped building, and as you're making your way toward it, you notice it's strangely shaped because along the alley to the left side of it are a number of carriages that look as though they are also secondhand. It's almost like it has its own little yard back behind it. And as you enter, you see there is a half-orc woman behind the counter, and she is currently in a conversation with a dwarf who is trying to sell what looks like an old sword. Do you look around the shop, or you just wait in line?
She'll browse. She'll actually do the same thing she did when she got her bag of holding. And she'll cast Detect Magic to see if anything stands out.
Okay, roll me a D100.
Man. I just realized with that, I have no spell slots.
Okay.
53. I'm all cantrips, baby. Hopefully nothing
Okay.
tries to kill me.
Roll me another D100.
71.
You see that there is one thing that gleams of magic. It's on one of the middling layer shelves in the center of the store. It is about the size of your hand. It's a brass peacock. Looks like its eyes are made of rubies and colored glass. It is beautiful.
Do I get a sense of what school of magic it is?
Abjuration.
That's protective?
Sometimes it can also be altering, about auras and stuff like that, but mostly, yeah, protection.
Okay. She'll pluck it off the shelf and see if the half-orc woman is ready for attention.
At this point, you see that she is oiling and cleaning the sword that this dwarf has sold to her, and she looks up. How can I help you?
Hello. I actually have something I wanted to see if I could sell to you.
All right, and you're also interested in that peacock, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a pretty thing.
All right, sure. What have you got for me?
She will set the peacock down on the counter, and she will take out the fucking bag, the ring, and put it down and slide it across.
I had a dear friend of mine pass recently, and she left me this ring. And, Well, I don't really have any use for it, and it's kind of a painful memory, so.
All right. Roll me deception.
Ugh, whew, 24.
Okay. She looks at you, reaches out, picks up the pouch, upends the pouch over her palm, and looks at the ring that tumbles into it. The ring is made of platinum. It has small stones inlet around the outside of it, and as she picks it up and looks at it, this is a pretty thing, isn't it?
I thought so too.
She picks up a loop, and she looks at it and begins to inspect it. All right. Well. Roll me a D100.
High roll, high roll, high roll! 20. God damn it. 28.
I can offer you 56 gold for it.
That sounds fair. Honestly, I could just use the coin.
No haggling. I'll take it. And she...
Well, I mean,
She kind of gestures to the
no,
peacock.
you are... Oh,
I think, you know.
I
How
see.
much would you?
How about 50 gold in the peacock?
50 gold for the peacock.
No. I'll give you 50 gold and the peacock for the ring.
And the peacock. Can I just try to guess? Does it seem like she's not giving me a good deal?
Roll insight.
16?
It seems like a fair deal.
Yeah, okay, I thought so too. 6 gold for the peacock. Yeah, that's fine. She'll nod and say, yeah, sure, that sounds good.
She nods, and she writes up a quick receipt for the peacock, hands it over. Pleasure doing business. Thanks for coming to Turntables.
Thank you so much.
And she will take the peacock and put it in her bag and walk out of the store.
As you walk out of the store, go ahead and add in your inventory a luck stone.
Oh shit! It's shaped like a peacock?
Yeah.
That's so cute. Okay.
It's a good luck peacock.
Good luck, peacock. It's on a cursed luck stone?
No, you don't know.
Okay. Well, I'm adding a luck stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I have to attune to it. So I would like to attune to it over the next hour.
Sure.
But I'm assuming Tiara and Skullna are outside the shop.
Yes, they're waiting for you.
She comes out and she says, okay, I got a peacock.
Skullna, like, you see her eyes lighten up, and she says, oh, and she, like, reaches out her hands for it. Can I see?
Oh, yeah. You like, she seems weirdly enthusiastic about this.
She, like, holds onto it and, like, looks at all the glass feathers and is, like, she seems enamored with it. And she
God
says,
damn it.
you do not have to give her the bird.
It's too late. You said enamored.
Okay. So, Skullna seems to like the peacock.
Mm-hmm. And before she tries to give it back, she says, how about you keep it?
Skullna looks at you, and she smiles wide, and she just... Thanks.
Yeah. It's got some magic properties about it. Good ones. Just spend some time with it.
She tilts her head and then nods, and then just continues to look at it. It's very shining in the day's light.
I think she's gonna look at Tiara and just kind of put an arm around his shoulder and say, let's just go back to the Marigard.
That sounds like a plan.
I would love a distraction.
I'm sure we can arrange that.
I thought you might be able to.
And the three of you head back toward the Marigard Academy.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the day is yours.
I don't have anything jumping that I would particularly like to do. Oh shit, Maxwell. I go to Maxwell.
Okay.
We're gonna do that first and then whatever.
As you enter the Marigard Academy, you find...
I'm not a tiefling anymmer. I
Okay.
changed on the way back.
Alright. You find Persh seated at the front desk. Skullna is... Well, she's near you. She's not vanished yet.
Mm-hmm.
Persh is having a conversation with a halfling.
Okay.
A familiar
Uh,
one.
Eavesdrop? Or is it loud enough that if you're just nearby, you can hear what they're saying?
You can just hear what they're saying.
Okay.
You hear Perce telling Cassandra, as soon as Maxwell gets back, he will show you around the Marigold Academy.
Yes! Oh, thank God. I would have been so sad if she was crying in the Marigard Hall. Oh, man.
You see Perce kind of glances up at you and nods. And then, as they finish the conversation, Cassandra scurries. She doesn't even look behind her. She doesn't see you. She scurries into the mess hall.
Aw.
And Perce looks up and says, "Seems like you've been doing some recruiting."
Yep, that's me. Marigard recruiter.
We could always use the numbers, so I'm not going to turn my nose up at a student that has prospects.
I think she does. Well, I'm sure we'll find what she's good at.
Not the sharpest
So-
tool in the shed, but it looks as though she's fairly nimble.
That's what you need to be a rogue, right?
Mostly. Wits do
so-
help.
So Maxwell's not in yet, is he?
He's right over there.
Okay.
And
She, looks over.
he points and Maxwell's in the corner, arms folded, and he just nods.
God damn it. Okay. She'll wave and say, "Hey, do you have a minute?"
Maxwell looks at you and says, "I do, depending who's asking. What do you need?"
She'll kind of nod her head toward the selection room.
He raises an eyebrow.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd like a private conversation, please.
perfect.
Oh my God. What is
We-
today?
I'll be back in 5, Push. And he leads the way into the selection room, which you see is lined with gear, as it always usually is. And as he shuts the door, what is it?
Elise told me that if I'm doing things for the master, that I should let you know
Mm-hmm.
in case it conflicts with Marigard interests. I did a thing for the master. I'm here to tell you about it.
All right. What did you do?
Got a dead drop, south docks, under the piers, in a log. There was a scroll, and a pouch with a ring. She told me to sell the ring to the second-hand shop, and explain that I got it from a friend who died, and that I would take whatever she offered for it, and forget about it.
All right. Do you remember what the ring looked like?
I explain it as accurately as... You know what? Do I have minor illusion? I probably don't, because that would be useful. Sure don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I just explain it.
Okay. Maxwell listens, and then he finally says, "Sounds like the master's trying to get a piece for scrying into Ferrum. It's not a huge deal."
I do have one question.
Hmm?
So the scroll was very clear about don't tamper with it, don't cast any spells on it, and don't touch it with your bare hands. And before I read that, I poured it into the palm of my hand. Like this one. And she holds up her big hand. Am I fucked? What do you think?
Could
This
be.
Spare hand?
It depends. If that ring is what I think it is, which is a scrying object, it means that the person who touches it is a target for whoever it is that's trying to scry. So if you touched it, it will be scrying upon you. Now we can deal with that if that is the case, but this would be a tool for Tabernacle to look into.
Okay.
He needs to take a quick look over you and see if there are any scrying anchors tied to you.
Okay. Could she scry on me if I have an amulet against detection?
That's the point of an anchor, is to get past blocks.
I didn't know that. Oh shit. Okay. Why would she want to scry on a shopkeeper?
I guess it doesn't fucking matter.
I doubt she does.
Well, she touched it.
Look, these tools, they're... It's more important who uses them consistently. So if someone's wearing that ring, that shopkeeper's not going to matter.
Okay. So why would it matter if I touched it?
He shrugs.
Okay, you're right. This is probably a conversation for Tabernacle.
Or Widget. She's the magic item expert around here.
True, but I'm trying to limit how many people know about what I'm doing.
Then stick to Tabernacle.
Yeah. If he recommends Widget, I'll do the thing, but... Like, hi, I'm working for a crime lord, to, like, this woman I've met once? Maybe? Not ideal. Thank you, Maxwell.
Thank you for telling us.
Yeah, and there's a new rogue student. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I saw her. I was in the room.
How do you feel about her?
Enthusiastic. A bit soft. It's going to need some hardening.
I think, a lot of people do when they start here.
She's a sort of rogue that will steal things but doesn't want to hurt anyone. Which is helpful. It's almost agreeable. But as a mercenary, we do need to hammer that out of her.
I see. I hope she does well.
I'm sure she'll do just fine. With the right tutelage.
Sure, she's got the best.
He winks at you.
Yeah, alright, I gotta go talk to a dragon.
I'll see you around.
Yep, I probably won't, actually.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
We need to work on that.
Probably, you're right. I'll consult with someone on that. TR, baby.
No, you won't. Off you go.
Will? Fuck you. Okay.
And as you leave... Okay, so, you're heading to Tabernax?
Yup.
Okay.
Have TR and Skolna stuck with me, or are they gone to, like, the mess hall?
They're around. They were waiting outside the selections room. So when you emerge, Tierra would said, "So, what do you say?"
Something ring might be a scry anchor.
Well, I don't know what that means.
It means it can bypass normal defenses that someone might have to protect themselves from being looked in on by magic means.
Oh.
The problem is, if I touched it, I might have gotten it. Like, it might have anchored onto me.
I see.
Which would be terrible, because I have this, and she taps the amulet that she wears, and she says, this is to prevent that exact thing from happening. And I'd really appreciate if she didn't, or couldn't look in on me at any time that she wants to. And if she does, and she can see me, she knows that I fucking touched it. So there's that problem too. But if I get rid of it, I don't know. I don't know, but I need to talk to Tabernacle to see if that is even the case first.
Right. Well, I mean, do you need us for this?
I like having you around.
Is it
Have
a
you
problem
seen the
if
wizard
know?
classroom? Huh?
Is it a problem if we know? Like, is Tabernacle going to have a problem with us being there?
Nah.
All right. I mean,
Have
either
either
way.
of you seen the wizarding classroom?
Skolna nods.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about you?
No, not yet.
Well, then let's go talk to a dragon.
Okay. That's sure. And they follow you.
Yay, field trip.
As you head up to Tabernacle's classroom. The sounds of pages turning is audible in the room once you enter. You don't see Callie or Hallowell. And as Tier and Skolna enter behind you, they are both looking around. Skolna less as much. But Tier
Probably
is very
everywhere.
much... Probably. She's looking around very much like... Or, I'm sorry, Tier is looking around like, this is... Well... Very different from my quest stream, I'll say that.
There's
And then
just some woods.
from over by the stage, you hear Tabernac say, "I imagine that is true, Tia Patalis." And Tyr says, "Oh, he knows. All right." And Skolna nods to him. Tabernac from below, on his stage, he says, "Now what do I have the pleasure of so many visitors today, Lorna?"
They're tagging along for my mental health. I did have a question for you, if you wouldn't mind indulging me.
If it's involving your mental health, I don't know if I can save you.
It's kind of related, but it's also magic, so I figured you might be able to actually weigh in on this.
Very well. The three of you approach. And
Lorna leads the way.
Tyr and Skolna will follow you. Tyr still hit his head on a swivel, and Skolna looks a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's probably because you can read minds.
She looks fidgety. And as Tabernac sets down, you see he has a number of scrolls out and open on the stage, and he's in dragon form. He was looking over them. He sets the one he was looking at down, which was hovering in the air, and he says, "Magic this time." Well, go on then.
I've gotten up to my usual shenanigans, and I think, according to Maxwell, I might have interfered with an item used to create a scrying anchor. And I was wondering if that was true, and if I have an anchor attached to me now.
Whoa. All right. Well, let me have a look at you. And Tabernac leans over, and with one claw, he reaches out, and you feel the sharp talon of the claw gently touch on your shoulder. And even though you're wearing the robes and cloaks of a wizarding student, the talon is still sharp, and you can almost feel it punch through. And Tabernac, you see his eyes suddenly glow with orange light briefly. You show no evidence of magic bound to you from an outside source.
Thank goodness. She, looks visibly relieved.
Do you mind telling me what this is all about?
I was doing a favor for someone, and before I knew that I shouldn't touch the thing, I took it out of the thing the package it was in, and put it into the palm of my prosthetic, and then read that I shouldn't have touched it. But I was hoping that because it wasn't my actual hand, that it wouldn't have taken.
You have not had that prosthetic hand for long enough that magic considers it part of your flesh.
That is the best thing I have ever heard in my life right now.
That will change in time, so do not grow used to that. As that prosthetic grows more accustomed to you and you to it, it will act more and more as living flesh. For all purposes, whether it be casting...
Would it bleed?
No, it is still made of metal and wood and glass. What I mean is, for the effects of magic, you will be able to cast powerful touch spells through it eventually. You cannot right now because it is not part of you yet. Do you understand?
I do. And it's a relief to hear.
Good.
This is kind of a follow-up question, but I realize, you remember when I had the visit from my sponsor?
I do recall.
She told you her name, and you seemed to recognize it. Was I wrong about that?
No.
You didn't recognize it, or I was not wrong about that?
You asked if you were wrong about that. I said no. I did recognize it.
Okay, can you tell me more?
What do you wish to know that you don't already?
I don't know anything, so anything would be knowing more. She said that her name was Hale Northair, and you said a Northair. She kind of tries to make the grumble noise that he does.
Right.
So anything about that would be extremely useful to me.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay. 17.
I worry what I can tell you that would not jeopardize you in her eyes.
I'm resolute in staying with AmeriGuard when I graduate and doing what I can to stop her, potentially put an end to her in the future.
Well, then I will tell you what is known, but not commonly so. I believe she was once the daughter of a Copper Mask official. I believe she has a vendetta against the Copper Mask. I know that she is quite fond of the motto, "With the right leverage, man can move mountains." And above all, information is leverage. She counts on what she knows in her spy network to keep her informed in all cases. If this anchor or item that you have mentioned is from her, it is likely an attempt of hers to create a new spy network here in Ferren.
I see.
I also suspect it was not something as simple as a spy tool or a scrying object, as I've heard you assume.
Well, that's what Maxwell told me I might be able to expect it to be.
Well, Maxwell is a capable instructor, but he is no expert in magical items.
Do you have a different theory?
I might. But it wouldn't be practical to really... It's all conjecture, you see? If I were to act against whatever it was this individual has asked you to do, I likely would jeopardize you in their eyes. So, for now, this task that you've completed for them, I'm going to leave it alone. Is this fair to you?
Yes.
I realize that might be disappointing and not what you were hoping for.
Well, I was mostly concerned about the fact that I accidentally touched it because she told me, in basically in no certain terms, that I would pay for it. And I'm tired of paying her.
In this case, I believe your mistake was... minor, at best. Considering you touched it with a prosthetic, no ill effects seem to have been applied to you.
Great. That is a bit of a relief.
There is the chance that the ring had a charge of something, and it was expended when you touched it, and it wasn't expended on you. That is a possibility.
Would, so it could have affected something around me?
It could have. It might have been a triggering action for something else, something greater, when someone touched it. Did not have to be you. In fact, I imagine she wanted it to not be you because of its location.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it might have affected anyone around me?
Doubtful.
Okay, that's a relief.
Well, these are all just my assumptions and conjecture on powerful magical items.
Mm-hmm.
The most simple answer is usually the correct one. Maxwell is likely correct. He might not be. It might be more. But there's nothing we can do about it now, except wait.
Very true. Very true. I understand. Well, thank you. That was one of the more simple things I've come to you with recently.
Skolna, you do not intend to leave this room with that in your hand, do you? And you didn't see this. Skolna is back behind the couch, and you watch as she gently sets what looks like an ornate snow globe down on the end table. And she shakes her head no, and Tabernacle says, I thought not.
We'll get out of your hair now.
Then I will see you tomorrow.
Yes, of course.
Stay safe, please.
I'm doing my best.
And as you head out of Tabernacle's classroom, Tier has been speechless the whole time, and as soon as you leave, he says, that is a bloody dragon.
Yeah, full big dragon.
The last I'd heard of them were just the stories of the copper ones that were down below the shores of Trident. I never thought I'd actually see one up close like that and it be friendly.
He's a really nice guy.
No nails. I mean, thank fuck for that, right?
He's only ever been kind to me. He helped me get this hand, so.
Aye, alright. And you see he's, like, very much trying to wrap his mind around it.
Yeah.
Skolna's pouting a little bit.
I'm sorry, Skolna.
She shrugs.
Did you know he could read minds?
She looks at you. What?
If you're in his lair, he can read your mind.
You see that a lot makes a lot more sense to her now.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have noticed you unless he could hear your thoughts.
It's cheating.
It is. You know how many times it's caught me thinking idle thoughts during classwork? It's awful. But I wouldn't recommend taking anything from his room because he'll probably kill you.
She blinks.
He's a dragon. This is Horde.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
She seems to understand the situation a little better. While Skolna is smart, she does not appear to know much about dragons.
Yeah, and Lorna's thinking to herself, I probably should have told them about the whole mind reading thing before we got in there. Shit.
Tier says, do we want to go try and see and talk to Persh about a bard? Or is that
Yes.
just an idle thought? Okay.
No, yeah, sure, why not?
Alright. And we should probably maybe consider more training.
To the DM, I would have definitely gone to the training room in the time skip between Skolna's conversation and the dead drop.
Uh-huh.
Just so you know, there wasn't
So-
idle time there.
Let me put it to you this way, okay? Every session that we do a scrimmage or a practice against monsters, I make a tally for your party bonus when you go into the actual fall festival.
So actually doing it is also super useful?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, noted.
Just saying that you do it in your off time, it gives you no penalties, basically.
I see.
But to actually get a bonus, you have to do it your damn self.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
And the fall festival is in about a week, so...
Oh shit, yeah, let's go.
As you head towards the front desk, you find Persh seated behind the counter. There's no sign of Cathandra. There's no sign of Maxwell. And Persh is back looking at papers.
Hi, Persh.
Hello again, Lorna. How can I help you?
Is there like a limit on how many people we can have on a team for the fall festival?
Standard team size is 5.
Standard team, but I asked if there was a limit.
Technically, no. But once you get more than 5, then you are considered a higher echelon team. And the threats you will face will be higher.
Ooh, wouldn't that be great? She looks at Tier and Skolna. What do you think?
Tier winces. Skolna shrugs. It's up to you, Captain.
Well, how about we consider it and talk to the rest of the team? But we can do our next spar with just our usual 5.
Also, if we're going to consider maybe working with a bard as a 6th, maybe talk to the bard first? You know?
Yes.
Get
Yep.
to know him? Her?
Yep.
And
Agreed.
Persh says, there are only 2 bard students. If you're considering inviting one of them to be on your team, you should know. There is Yethron Longclaw, who is, well, a gnoll, and also a bard who focuses on magic. And then there is Nore, who is a swords bard.
I didn't even know bards could fight with swords.
From what I understand, she hails from Tarracona. Had the title of Blade Maiden, something like that.
That is so cool.
Okay. I think if you're going to have a conversation with them, best do it soon, as the fall festival's in a week.
Yes, you're correct. But we were thinking about sparring today, so...
Today? It's a Sunday.
Are we not allowed to?
Your team needs to be able to be assembled, and if they are drunk or asleep, that is likely not likely.
Well, I'm only missing 2 of them, so we can see.
Right, that's Anscombe and...
Sigona.
He raises an eyebrow at you. You think Sigona's not drunk on a Sunday?
Wasn't there to ask?
He picks up the sending box, pulls out the stone. Sigona, are you available to... You can find her at the Mary God if you'd like.
She's drunk, huh?
It sounds as though she's in a sort of competition.
Okay. How about tomorrow, then?
I will mark it. Are you looking for a scrimmage against monsters or another team?
Another team. I think we've tried a lot with monsters. We haven't fought other AmeriGuard students yet.
I'll make a plan for it to happen before lunch. Make sure that after you have informed your class that you are leaving, head down here and I will arrange a bout. Will there be anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Off you go.
That's all I had planned.
Okay. Then it is actually about that time. So,
No.
yes. As you have made arrangements to scrimmage on the next day, you've handled the dead drop and learned that your mistake did not cost you your life. That
Or
is
my
where-
other hand.
Or your other hand. That is where we will
God
stop tonight's session. Thank you for playing with me. And to all who are listening, we love you, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Bye-bye.